Welcome back to another explainer. So today we're diving into something we all do but probably don't think about nearly enough. We spend so much time obsessing over what we eat, right? But have you ever stopped to wonder how your body actually extracts those nutrients once you swallow? Today we're going on a microscopic journey to explore the biological engineering of absorption. It is, quite literally, a silent masterpiece of design operating inside you right this very second. To kick things off, let's just ask the big question. Where does all the hard work of digestion actually pay off? You chew your food, your stomach churns it up with these powerful acids, and enzymes break it down chemically. But all of that physical and chemical digestion, that's really just prep work. It's just tearing the food down into tiny, soluble molecules. If those molecules just stay in your digestive tract, they do you absolutely zero good. The real payoff, the exact moment those nutrients cross over to give you energy and build your cells, that happens next. And that brings us straight to the small intestine. This is the real hero of our story. It's the central hub. It is the absolute main site for absorbing all those small, soluble molecules your stomach just works so hard to break down. Like I said, everything prior to this, just prep work. But what's truly fascinating is how this workload actually gets divided up. The small intestine is super long, but there's a very specific section called the ileum that does the vast majority of the heavy lifting. The ileum absorbs almost all of your digested food and most of the water. And then, once it's done, whatever is left over just passes on to the colon, the large intestine, which acts basically like a cleanup crew to absorb some remaining water. But make no mistake, the ileum is where the real magic of nutrient absorption happens. Which brings us to Section 1, Engineering Massive Surface Area. So to extract every possible nutrient from this fast-moving stream of liquid, your body had to solve a major spatial problem. And it did this using a fundamental rule of biological engineering. The rate of absorption depends entirely on the area of the exchange surface. It makes sense, right? A larger surface gives you way more space for molecules to move across, speeding everything up. A smaller surface just creates a massive bottleneck. To absorb efficiently, the body literally needs maximum surface area, which leads us to this totally staggering number, 30. The internal surface area of your ileum is roughly 30 square meters. Just take a second to process that. 30 square meters is about the size of a studio apartment, or, half a badminton court. Your body has somehow managed to pack a biologically active exchange surface of that massive size into a tiny section of your abdomen. It's absolutely mind-blowing when you think about it. So how exactly does your body pull off this impossible geometry? Well, it does it in 3 steps, and if we progressively zoom in, we can see how. First, you have the sheer total length of the coiled intestine itself. Then, second, looking inside that tube, the lining isn't smooth. It's bunched up into these deep circular folds. And third, covering those folds are millions of microscopic structures called villi. Every single step multiplies the surface area of the last, packing that entire apartment-sized surface right into your gut. Let's look closer at Section 2, zooming in, the villi and microvilli. Imagine for a second you shrank down and actually stood inside the small intestine. The walls wouldn't look smooth like the inside of a water pipe. Instead, those circular folds are covered in literally millions of these tiny finger-like projections called villi. Because they stick out like millions of little fingers, they catch the digested food molecules as they float by, which drastically increases the amount of space available for absorption. And this is where biological engineering takes things to a whole new level. If you zoom in on just one of those tiny villus fingers, you'll see it's lined with a layer of epithelial cells. But get this, the outer membranes of those individual cells aren't flat either. They have their own microscopic extensions called microvilli. It's this incredible fractal-like design, folds on folds on folds. Those microvilli multiply the surface area for one final hyper-efficient boost, ensuring absolutely no nutrient gets left behind. All right, Section 3, the nutrient highway. Hidden inside every single one of those millions of villi is a dense network of capillaries. But the absolute key engineering feature here? The capillary walls are only 1 cell thick. Let that sink in. This extreme thinness means the barrier between your intestine and your bloodstream is practically non-existent. It makes it incredibly fast and easy for small, soluble molecules to just diffuse right on into your blood. Let's actually trace this journey step by step for molecules like glucose from carbs and amino acids from proteins. Step 1, they pass effortlessly right through the epithelial cells of the villi. Step 2, they slip through those 1 cell thick capillary walls and enter the blood. Step 3, all those millions of tiny capillaries merge together into larger veins. Step 4, this nutrient-rich blood is sent straight to the liver, which acts kind of like a central processing plant to convert or store the molecules. And finally, step 5, the liver releases exactly what's needed, and the circulatory system transports it to cells and tissues all over your body. It is a highly optimized delivery system.
But wait, section 4, the specialized fat route.
Because here is a pretty surprising twist in our biological engineering story. Not all nutrients actually take that capillary highway. If you look back inside the villus, right alongside those capillaries, there's a single vessel called a lacteal. The lacteal is specialized infrastructure designed exclusively to handle the absorption of fats. It's essentially a VIP lane just for dietary fats.
So, you literally have two divergent transport mechanisms operating side by side in the exact same microscopic space. Capillaries are absorbing glucose and amino acids directly into the bloodstream, but the lacteals take fats and absorb them into the lymphatic system. It just goes to show that different nutrients require completely different internal delivery routes.
So what exactly happens to the fats? Well, it's a bit of a multi-step journey. When you digest fats, which we call triglycerides, they get broken down into fatty acids and glycerol. Step 1, as these molecules enter the epithelium of the villi, they actually recombine. They reform back into fats. Step 2, these reformed fats are way too bulky to squeeze into the capillaries, so instead, they move into the fluid inside the lacteal. Step 3, the lacteal carries them into your body's lymphatic system, which is sort of like a secondary vascular network. And finally, step 4, this lymphatic fluid takes the scenic route, eventually emptying the fats safely into the bloodstream a bit later on, where they can finally be used or stored.
Think about how efficiently this hidden machinery is working inside you right now. I mean, from the macroscopic folds all the way down to single-cell thick walls and those specialized lacteals, your body is operating a 30-square-meter nutrient extraction facility every single day, just keeping you fueled automatically. But this perfect system relies on a very delicate balance, which makes you wonder, what happens to our bodies when this massive microscopic landscape is damaged by disease, or entirely altered by the trillions of bacteria living right alongside it? Well, that is a mystery for another explainer. Thanks for joining me today, and keep exploring.